So totally going to record. Here we are.
Okay.
Yay! With my
Yay.
friends. Jenia. Yes. Okay, so this is mom time, right? Mom time. How do we get through this really historic time? Right? I mean, we've none of us have ever experienced anything like this before. You know, unless you were born in 1918, right? So so the thing is like, you and I have our kids who are in high school. You have younger ones. I have an elderly person in my home. I mean, I think all of these dynamics are creating opportunities for us to really figure out how do we take care of all the moving parts, right? And
Mhm.
so I'm picking up here because you were hitting some really great things that I think other moms really need to hear about how to make it work. All right. So you were saying, like, we were talking about routines, right?
Yeah. I mean,
Create,
because I,
creating structure.
I think like the context is that when the kids were babies, like Jeff and I were kind of nap fanatics. Like the routine was really important for us to feel like we were a little bit in control. And I think people teased us about it, but we really were like cuckoo about nap time and
Yeah.
bedtime and lunchtime. And it worked for us. And the kids knew what to expect and it just worked for
Mhm.
our family. And so I think I must be tapping into that in some way because there's so many things that don't feel like that's within our control that our routine kind of is within our control. And I
Yeah.
think I'm lucky and it works for our family that the kids have clicked into that and are needing that, I think, to kind of fill their day. And
Yeah.
like by routine, I mean, like, they play video games for an hour or
Sure.
two, and that's part of their day, and that's
Yeah.
fine. And I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
But for us, having that morning routine, like I was telling you, like for me, like I have to wake up and get dressed from pajamas to sweatpants
Yes.
and from my sleeping shirt to my waking shirt.
Yes. My waking shirt.
Shower is optional. Wash my
Hours
face,
optional. Yeah.
eat breakfast, and kind of start my day that way. And I think that's helps me not feel kind of depressed about it. I think the
Mm,
weekends I tend not to do that, and I definitely see a difference in the
yeah.
way my mood is because on the weekends we're like sleeping late and we're
Yeah.
waking up, and so the kids are doing the same thing.
It's
They
hard to even know. Like sometimes I'm like, what day is today?
Yeah,
They all blend,
they're all
right?
blended.
Because we don't have those structures that we were so conditioned to respond
Yeah.
to.
I was
And
thinking about that with my calendar. I was like, I think I spent a lot of time like, oh, on Friday I have to do, oh wait, they've got this meet on this
yeah,
day. We've got
yep,
in 2 weeks we have this thing happening, and there's
yep,
none of that.
none of
And
that.
so what I'm doing is, I mean, it's just kind of day to day. I know that sounds kind of trite, but it is literally,
No,
what's today?
yeah, yeah.
What's
Don't you
today?
feel like as a mom, you somewhat set the mood for the
Yeah.
way, yeah, right?
Yeah. Cause
Yeah.
Jeff is in a room and we don't see him. He
Steve
drifts
too.
down
Yep.
and then he drifts
Work.
back up, and then he kind of comes in and then he goes back.
Hmm.
So we don't really see him. And although I don't see Liam, he's 16, he's up in his room doing his work. He comes down when he needs to exercise and eat, but
Yeah. Yeah.
and do laundry because the
Yeah.
laundry situation
Yeah.
up there on the third floor is gross. Um, and I've decided that that's one of the things I'm not going to worry about. And when he runs out of clothes, he's going to eventually do
Figure it
laundry. And
out.
it's, yeah. And I think so. There's some things that I feel like during our normal, when things were kind of normal, that
Yeah.
was something I'd be like, "Arr!"
Yeah.
and now I'm like, he'll do it.
Yeah.
He'll get it done because we have a lot of time
Yes.
to get things
Well, I
done.
think it takes off a little bit of that pressure. One of the things that I kind of found, even like with Maximus, is just kind of going easy with things because our kids are dealing with something so unfamiliar.
Yeah.
Like this is just, and so are we for
Yeah.
the first time. And I think it's important as parents and kids that we make some allowances for each other to
Yeah.
go through this understanding, right? Like you were saying earlier, there's that little bit of grief
Yeah,
over the loss of what we were kind of expecting these months to look like.
right. Like banquets and award ceremonies and recitals,
Graduations,
graduations, all of that, you
swim
know.
meets, and crew, and being outdoors and seeing our friends. I mean, we had plane tickets booked, set to go see family. It's not going to happen now,
Right.
so all of that has changed.
Yeah. And the thing that that article that I was referencing about what the feeling you're feeling is grief, it
Yeah.
talked about how the 5 stages of grief, and that those stages don't come in a linear fashion, and that
Well,
anger is going to pop up, bargaining is going to pop up, all these stages of grief. And I think that I experienced that periodically. And
yeah.
Liam and I were supposed to travel, go to New York, and we were supposed to go see 4 colleges, and he was going to meet with 4 college coaches. That
Yes.
ended. And so I'm sure there's this anticipatory grief of that, but also like, you just anxiety, like what's going to happen now? He's doing phone calls.
Yep.
But what if he doesn't get in the water again for 6 months? What will
I
that
know.
look like? We don't
We
know.
don't
And
know. One thing that Maximus and I did was we did like virtual college tours,
yeah,
just to kind of look at some places and just kind of, go into that imagination and just kind of see this and, again, trying to create moments during the day where we're still connecting to what it was that we were imagining, right? And so, all of this is about how do we go beyond just surviving this? How do we really continue to thrive?
yeah. I think the first 2 or 3 weeks, I think we're just trying to tread water. I mean,
For
we're just trying
real.
not to drown.
We're like,
And
what's going on? Yeah.
yeah, and I think as we head in, next week's spring break, which I think is going to come with its own challenges, because now we're gonna have a week where we lose that scaffolding that we just kind of figured out.
Yeah.
We had just started and we just figured it out, and then we're gonna not have it. And on the one hand, if that means that we binge watch all of the Marvel movies for a week, like, then that's what it looks like,
That's just so much fun. Isn't it
you
been
know.
really fun to do
Yeah,
that?
if that means that we are, and that's fine, but it's just so different from, it's because if this was a normal spring break and we say we didn't have plans, we still have this feeling like, well, I should go do X, Y, and Z, or we should
Exactly.
go out and hike, or we should go out, and we just can't do some of those things, and it
No.
takes away that judgment of ourselves, I think, a little bit. So I think next week
Yeah.
will be tricky for us. Well, I think for Liam in particular, because he really needs the structure of school. It's why
Yeah.
he wants to swim in college. I mean, it's one of the main, when you ask him about it, not just love of sport, but he's like, I need that structure
Yeah.
to keep me. He's like, I know I do better in school when I'm swimming. I know I do better
Yeah.
during the
I
winter. Like,
know.
it is so important to him. And, that's, hopefully that doesn't get derailed with all of this. But
Yeah.
I
I
think
know.
this kind of the self awareness that these kids have right now, like,
Yeah.
I'm really impressed by it. I don't think I had that kind of self awareness when I was 16 about what environment I work best in.
Mm.
I'm pretty sure I didn't. I
Yeah.
don't think I would have been able to say that about myself when I was 16. So
Yeah. It's going to be really interesting to see kind of this play out in their lives and the kind of young adults that they're going to become from this experience. I mean, I think we're all going to be forever changed,
right.
and
But they're at a really
yeah, very impressionable time. And just I'm just inspired by some of the creativity that I see as far as like you were saying, their math groups, they come together. I really appreciate the teachers making themselves available for the students. This isn't homeschooling. Like you said, this is very, very different, and I think it's going to even change the face of education
yeah.
moving forward, because we're going to see the capacity that is out there to be able to learn,
Well, and
It's like some kids are going to be able to do really well under this paradigm and others are not. And that's going to be interesting how that's going to play out when we get back into the classroom, so
I think
I'm
we're lucky that we're in
fascinating.
a school district that has the means. I've talked to some
I
other people
know.
who are like, we just aren't, like, we have workbooks because we don't have the ability to do online
No,
school.
we are so blessed. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're really lucky with that. And for Max and Liam in particular, this math group as an example, like they're able to do that because they had the connection all the way
Yeah.
through the year, and they just
Yeah.
kind of continued it. If this goes into September, it's gonna be another learning curve where they try and figure out how do you create that kind of community, inter-student community, when you haven't been in class together for 7
That's
months.
right. I know.
So
I know. And we're going to have to shift as parents and really kind of figure out how to keep our children in a really healthy mindset, right?
yeah.
During this period of time. And I think like what you were saying, those fun times that we create with our children, really making them memorable as well. And just, for us, it's been like, we look forward to it now, like that we can sit down and watch a show together, because we really didn't. Everybody kind of had their show,
Everybody did their own, everybody had their show, or they went and did their own thing, or he grew
Yeah.
up somewhere else, or
I feel like, it's been great sitting at the table and having dinner together more regularly. It's been really great kind of sitting together, picking out a movie for all of us to watch together. And, we've kind of been doing that a little bit, but not obviously not as much as we're doing now. But during the day, it's no TV, like this is my space. Everyone has kind of created a space, right? Like, this is my space, and Max has his space, and I got a TV from my mother for her bedroom. That's her space.
it's fun. Yeah, I don't
just create even a little distance between us so that we can just have that sense of individuality and do the things that we need to do. And then as the day begins to close in, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, we all start kind of congregating in the kitchen. You know what I mean? It's like creating these flows in our homes so that it's not chaotic, that there's even a rhythm,
And again, I'm very fortunate that we have a lot of space in our house, and we have room, and we have a yard, and we can go outside. I mean, I was talking, again, like I was saying, I was talking to my niece who's 18. She's in her first year of college. I think she's struggling with a little bit of depression through all this kind of situational depression. And
it's hard.
One of the things because they live in like, it's just a smaller house, but she did, her mom moved there, and so she doesn't have a bedroom because her mom moved there when she's in college. And so she's come back to this environment where she doesn't have her own bedroom. And one of the things I talked to her about, I said, you and your mom and your brother have to figure out how to create space in a house that doesn't have a ton of space. What does that look like? How do you create so that you have some space to either do your work, or maybe that space is you sitting in an area with headphones on watching a movie, and that's your space, and no one's kind of allowed to kind of come into that space during that time. And
exactly.
you have to figure out ways to create that space and work with your mom and your brother so that you feel like you have a little bit of control in that. And right now they don't, right? It's kind of free for all. And so how do we create space when there's not a lot of space to be had? What does that look like? It might be that we're sitting next to each other, but I'm doing my thing and you're doing your thing, and it's cool. And we're not going to actually, we're not going to be weird about that. Like,
exactly.
Okay.
I like that.
And,
that's great advice.
Because I have struggled with that here, because I think everybody else has had space, but I don't. I'm actually I feel like I'm on call. Like, so if someone has trouble with something, I'm on call. If they don't understand something, I got to go in and help them. If, Jeff has his room and Liam has his room, and I can't just sit on the couch and binge watch a TV show like that while they're doing homework, but I don't have a kind of a space to go, except for the kitchen, which I spend all my time in the kitchen.
I'm always there anyways.
So I'm having to kind of think about that for myself.
Yes. And that's important for you.
Right. How do I create space for myself?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I have my in here, and then I have I got my candle, I got my incense, Yeah. My
I love
water.
you. Yeah, I don't think I'm drinking enough water. I mean, it's funny, like I can say all this about like my kids and what I'm trying to do and instill for them.
Journals.
And I just was laying in bed last night and I was like, I need to start writing my own journal because I think that's
Yeah.
going to help me feel like I'm getting my thoughts out. And
Yes.
have I started it? No,
That's,
but
you
it's
will.
okay. Still thinking about it. So like that was one thing I was thinking about for myself. And then the other
Yeah.
thing was like, how do I create some space for myself?
Yeah.
And an example, like I had gotten the kids, sometimes I watch movies at night and sometimes I'm like, you guys need to just please go do something.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this was one of those nights where I was like, it's 8:30. And for Liam, like that means he's going to go watch some Grey's Anatomy or whatever it is that he's watching right now. And,
Yeah. Yeah.
and the other two, I was like, you need to go upstairs and just read and like get into bed,
Totally.
do your journal. Cause I'm having the two of them journal. I tried to ask Liam to do it and he was like, no dice. So I'm not pushing it. But
Yeah.
the other two
Yeah.
are keeping journals. And so it was 8:30 and I was like, I am going to sit down and I'm going to watch an episode of Homeland because
Oh
that's
my
what I'm
God.
going to do.
Great show.
And I turned it on and I'm sitting on the couch and I'm like, yes. And Jeff comes in and says, hey, can you turn off the TV for a few minutes so we can hang out? And I was like, like I was like, I can't believe that that's my reaction. But it was. And I think it
Sure.
was because I had finally carved out some time.
Yes.
And he came in and I was like, okay. I mean, I was going to watch Homeland. He was like, well, can you turn it off? And so I did. And then he disappeared into the kitchen for a while. And he was finishing up making hard-boiled eggs or whatever it was he was doing. He comes back and he's like, I feel like I want to tune into the news. Like I haven't watched it in a week. And I was like, all right, fine. So I put the, and then so for an hour, that's what happened. And I was like, this isn't productive for me.
Yeah.
It wasn't productive for him.
Yeah.
And we ended up wasting that time. And then it's 10:30 and now I got to go to bed.
Yeah.
And that taught me that I was like, I need to hold firm to
Good.
carving out space.
I like that.
And also he and I have to figure out how we carve our space.
Totally.
Because those are the things right now that I'm not focusing on because I'm focusing on schooling through crisis.
Yeah.
And parenting through crisis.
Parenting. Yeah. No,
right?
I know it's a total adjustment.
So those are a couple of things I've thought about.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think the best part was that you were able to see that in that situation so that.
In the moment. Well, because I have all these group chats, right? Because gallows humor is really important for me right now. Like I gotta have a sense that we gotta, and I have some chats with friends where we, are like complaining or whatever. And I had just texted someone like that. I'm like, I'm sitting down, I'm gonna watch Homeland for an hour and it's gonna be awesome. And I can't wait. Yes, I have still not watched that episode of Homeland, and that was on like Monday.
Steve is binging on it right now.
Yeah, I'm like, ugh. And then that happened, and I was like, I was very aware of how I felt, which was I felt really ragey. Like I wanted to throw something in the direction of the kitchen. Like I was like really mad. I was like, what?
Whoa. Yeah.
And I was like, why am I so mad? Like he just wants to hang out. He just wants to connect because he's so busy up in his room.
Yeah.
He's not connecting.
Yeah.
And he's an introvert by nature anyway. So he doesn't need the like person to person the same way I do.
Sure.
I really need it. And he doesn't really need it in the same way.
Yeah.
But I was so ragey. I was like, why am I so ragey right now?
Well, probably because you were giving and giving and giving all day.
Yes.
And, and then there was that moment for you, and it wasn't a lot. It's an hour or two out of, and all of a sudden, boom, you just got, and you think, it's the right feeling to really be upset, disappointed, angry. Absolutely,
I was like, I want to watch Homeland. I don't want to watch MSNBC.
News. Yeah.
Because I'm trying. That's the other thing. I'm like, I have got to get off the Twitter. And
I don't do it. Yeah.
I have got to, and I've noticed this week I'm doing less and less.
Yeah.
And occupying my mind in other ways. Because I was really feeling myself like falling into that hole of scrolling through. And I was also reading another article that someone had posted. He's an academic, like he's a lawyer, but he's also in academia, an academic. And so it was more related to like academia and being prepared
Yeah.
through this when you're in academia. And one of the terms that was listed in this article that I really related to, because especially the first 3 weeks when you're kind of on Facebook and everyone's posting stuff and
Yeah.
or Instagram or whatever, and it
Yeah.
was ignoring the productivity porn.
Mm.
And I was like, ding, ding, ding. That really resonated for me because I think I was watching all these people and friends posting like hashtag quarantining, and it would be like them like on ATVs at their vacation home, you know, writing, doing whatever, like setting up an ice skating rink inside their house or
Yeah.
doing all these crazy things. And I was like, are you kidding me right now with this? I cannot even go there right now, and
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so seeing that, like, ignore the productivity porn.
Yeah. Well,
Don't.
and everybody doing their workouts and all this kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
all
And
the like online,
yeah,
look at my kid being super
like,
productive.
I don't
I,
really do that anyways.
I know.
So
I've
yeah,
noticed I'm not posting anything. I haven't done it. I'm like very not active on it because I was like, I
I'm just like, stay hydrated, people. That's me.
like drink
Stay
lots of
hydrated.
water and maybe meditate. Yeah, it
Yes.
was really that phrase really resonated. I was like, productivity porn, like, don't fall into the trap of
Yeah.
seeing what everyone else is doing and then feeling like you have to do it. And I
Yeah.
had a friend that kind of around the same time, very similar in the first 2 weeks, and she's a parent at the elementary school with me, and she was like, I just feel like, and I can't remember exactly how she phrased it, but she basically was like, I just feel like I need to um, make sure that this is like a really fun and like memorable experience for my kids or something along those lines. In other
Yes.
words, like doing like, and her husband made like some kind of cool like domino type thing from their roof down through their house, and like went through, I mean, he's doing all sorts of crazy things. He's a teacher, and I was
Sure.
like, productivity porn, and I am like,
Yeah.
but she was like, and I said to her, and I remember this conversation, I was like, I don't think that Facebook is showing you all the other things that are happening. You're
Yeah.
not seeing behind the scenes. You're only seeing
The
a
moments.
skating rink set up inside someone's house, or
Yeah. Well,
the
I think everyone is just trying to figure out how to deal with
right.
it.
Right. And so
It's
don't
just,
feel like the pressure of like, I got to do kind of cool things for my kids,
yeah,
or
no,
that we're
yeah,
really maximizing this time at home. And it's like, everyone's just got to do the best they can, and everyone's
yeah.
got to do what they have the capacity for.
Well, and I think your kids are doing really well, Jenia. Like, you have this beautiful fluidity in your home, and it doesn't have to, it's not about the glitz and the glamour. It's about the kids. My opinion is staying healthy, feeling connected to the family, right? Knowing that they're being supported,
Yeah.
you know, following through on just their assignments so that they don't fall behind, and doing it in a way that it doesn't seem burdensome to them. How,
Rigid.
yeah, like, how do we do this and at the same time really adapting to what's going on? You can't just like pretend like nothing's going on. Like, there's a lot going on right now.
Right.
And so I
Which
think
is
as
why it's,
mothers, we're trying to create a sense of
yeah.
calm, you know what I mean, in our
Yeah.
homes.
And
But I think it's really, really,
regularity.
but I think it's really, really important that we take care of ourselves.
Drinking water. Drinking water.
Well, that's what it is for me, right? Like, for me, staying hydrated.
Yeah, I realized I
Helps.
went the whole day. I was like, did I even drink anything today?
Yeah,
Like,
like, and eat well. Like, it's very tempting to just kind of not be
oh,
mindful,
snack. Yeah.
not be mindful with
Or
what
not
you're
eat.
eating, or
I was
not
like,
eat.
I was
Yeah,
like, oh, it's 2 o'clock. So these are the things I'm learning about myself. Like, my kids were making lunch yesterday, and I realized like they made their own lunch. They ate it. They continued doing, like, they were
that's
all
great.
independent, even the little 10-year-old. And,
Yeah,
and then I was like, it was like 2 o'clock. I was like, I didn't eat lunch. Like,
yeah, yeah,
so I have to do a little more work on making sure that I'm following what I'm
What you
setting
need.
for kids and what I need.
What you need. You know what I mean? It's not doing what the kids do. It's, what is it
No, but
that
I mean, I'm
is good for
also, I
you?
think I do better under structure as well. I
Yeah,
mean, a lot of us do. Maybe we don't even realize it, but
we all
um,
do.
we all do. And so I'm like trying to make sure that the kids have this, like you said, this fluidity and this regularity, but
Yeah.
I'm not always doing the same thing for myself. So that's something that I have to pay attention to.
Yeah. Finding out what is it that makes you happy, do the things that make you feel good.
Right.
Some for one day it can be that, like you said, going from your pajamas into your leggings.
Yep.
The other day I was
Thank
like, you know what? I'm gonna get dressed up today. I'm gonna put on some jeans.
I did that the other day, and I was like,
I was like,
but
I'm
they were
so fancy right now.
my stretchiest, softest jeans, but they still were my jeans, and I probably won't wear any other jeans throughout this, except for there's going to be like 3 pairs of pants that I wear throughout this entire thing.
I swear.
Which is also kind of helps me be like, why was I shopping so much? What was I spending money on? What were the things that I felt like I had to go out and buy?
Isn't that interesting? Oop, I lost you. Oh, I lost you. Where's your voice? Jenia, I lost you. Your voice, you got muted.
All that change
Oh,
when we
there you
can.
are. There you are.
Oh, did you hear what I was saying? How is this going to impact our spending habits on the other side of this?
True.
What we choose to spend money on, because I've really retracted. I'm like, I'm not, unless we need it, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it on Amazon. I'm not.
Yeah.
The last big purchase were those 2 Chromebooks for the kids. And thank God I did it when I did, because then there were none to be
Yes.
had a week later. But right away I was like, this was going to be a birthday present or a Christmas present or both. And now we need it. We need it now.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that was kind of the last big purchase I made. And I realized,
I'm good.
what do we need?
Yeah. For us, it's really just been the groceries, that's it.
Yeah.
And even then, not crazy because how much do you really need, and not creating a sense of panic, but we just got our essentials, and it's been nice just cooking, and that's kind of been the majority of our purchases. I did get, like I told you, the TV for my mom.
Yeah. I mean, again, things we have to kind of just set ourselves up so that we can
yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know that we've totally addressed all of, we were going to get my mother-in-law was going to come visit us at spring break, and she was bringing us this TV that they don't use, but it's like brand new. And that was going to be our second TV for the crappy one that doesn't work that we bought in 2003. We still have a TV from 2003.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sometimes works and it sometimes doesn't. And you have to kind of like do a dance in front of it, or like tap lightly, and then maybe we'll turn on. But we don't have that. So I was like, well, guess we just won't do with that. You can watch it on your computer.
Exactly. Which that too, right?
Fine. Yeah. So I that is something I've kind of started to pay attention to. I was going through our expenses for the last month, and I'm like, wow, dining expenses, dining out, almost at zero.
Isn't that amazing?
And we didn't need it. Although I know we want to support local businesses, but because of our food allergies, with Noah's food allergy, we never really ate out anyway. But Jeff
we didn't eat out very much anyways either. I mean, special occasions and a pizza here and there, but in general.
Clothing, like what clothing do I need to buy? I don't need to buy clothing. I don't need to be
amazing. I know.
Really.
Well, this is, I think this is just such an incredible time. I think the big takeaways for all of us are to, just kind of create a good family environment, and take this time, I think, to connect with one another, and just kind of find joy in the little things.
Yeah. And I'm not a craft or hobby person, so it's gonna
Me neither.
Really am not. I'd rather be
zero
people. Like I'm just not a craft. So I know, how am I gonna fill my time? To be continued. The other thing I've decided, like when it's nice out, like today, I have to force myself to go out when it's gross out, but when it's nice out, I'm listening to books on tape, and I will go
That's
on
nice.
a long walk. and listen to book on tape. And I've had friends like, want to go on a walk? And I'm like, I actually prefer walking by myself
Yeah. Good for
with
you.
the AirPods because it's just time
For
out.
you.
Yep. So
That's so
that's
good.
been another thing that I was like, and then the last couple of days it's been rainy and cold and gross, and I haven't really done it. And I can see the difference when I don't.
I agree. I agree. We were joking in our neighborhood about how like the dogs have been taking the humans for walks.
Yeah, the dogs are like, man, this is great.
Oh my God. My dog was just like the first like week just exhausted.
Yeah, the dogs are
Like
like, I don't want to
laying
go.
down. She's like, I don't want to go for another walk.
Yeah, the dogs are like, I'm done.
I'm
Walk.
done, you know? We're like, hey, let's go.
Now, I have a friend, a neighbor,
For
she
a
is
dog.
getting two puppies today. I was like,
Wow.
you're ambitious.
That's-
That's like next
yeah.
level.
I'm not adding anything right
Yeah, I'm
now.
like, that's, she would wrote me, she was like,
But
you're gonna get two puppies. I'm like, you're effing crazy.
yeah,
But
good for her.
good for
Good for
her.
her.
I'm like, and we can't even go over and pet the puppies right now. So that
Oh
sucks.
my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
no,
not
there's
ready
no
to put
adding.
anything on top of anything. And,
Just can't.
there is some freedom to that. There is a little
Isn't it?
mental freedom to being like, I can't do any of
Yeah,
that. I don't feel like I need to add anything. I don't feel like I need to buy anything.
I
It all
know.
goes away.
It's like the great equalizer.
Yeah, it really is. And it makes me think about, our great grandparents who kind of lived through the Depression or lived through
Mhm.
another kind of life defining moment,
Yeah,
World War II, where
yeah,
life dramatically changed, and how
yeah,
we're different on the other side of it. And it defined that generation.
yep.
So what is this going to look like for our kids and
I
for us?
know. And I think that's it right there.
Yeah.
I mean, what an amazing time to be alive and to experience this with our children and, work with them during this period of time. I mean, I just think it's just life defining, you
Yeah.
know?
We
I-
took a lot of things for granted.
Yeah.
I had to clear my calendar because it was too sad to see things popping up, like
Yeah.
LMAC banquet, and I
I
was like,
know.
oh, or,
I'll never miss a banquet ever again.
yeah, I will never complain about that ever again. Or, Mira just did this robotics club thing, and the competition was supposed to be last Saturday, and I forgot to delete it. And it came up, it was like first Lego League competition. And I almost cried. And then another picture came up of Liam from last year when they went to the senior champs, and he's dressed up in his like fuzzy animal suit. And it was,
Oh,
and
no.
I was like, you know, I will never take these things for granted.
Yeah.
I really, and I think we did, or we complain.
Or
Oh,
we
I got to
complained.
6 a.m. to take him. I will get up at 6 a.m. and take you to whatever,
Isn't that amazing?
yeah,
I think that's
completely,
it right there.
completely changes the way we value those things, I think.
I know. I know. I hope we don't forget, I hope
I
we
don't
just
know how we
don't.
will, because this isn't ending anytime soon.
No, it's not. And it's, we just have to trust that it's good.
Yeah.
Because it is, it is. I mean, I can see it, I can see some really good things and some things that are just really, really hard. Like for me with my job, we're furloughed. There's,
Yeah.
income, all of that, just the way that we work going forward, even for Steve, like it's like I think for all of us, we're reinventing ourselves. We,
Yeah.
just as much as our kids are going through this transformation, we are too as adults. It's just, right now you're able to get your credit cards deferred and you can get this deferred and that deferred, but ultimately, we're going to pay the piper. And so, how are we going to do this if we can't, do what we've been normally doing? It's very,
Yeah.
very different
Yep.
now. And so, um, I think that's been the big thing for me personally is, what does it look like moving forward? Because, what I do touches people all the time. And so there's some adjustments that I need to make in my business moving forward. And
Yeah, that's true.
but in the meantime, I feel like it's times like this where we get together and really share what we're doing, because it's just kind of real. I'm not doing
Validating. It's validating.
it
And I think
is. And we don't hear this conversation enough. Like you said, you see what is it, the productivity porn. Yeah, instead of like, hey.
Yeah, and I think that one thing I follow this woman's Instagram, and she did this recording of herself, and she was sitting in an empty bathtub with a glass of wine on a garbage can, and she was like, this is the day I've had, and it is an empty bathtub. She's like sitting in there with her, because it was a way where she could go, right? Something else where she could get away. And I
Carter
thought,
space.
we have to allow ourselves to, like, to have an evening or a moment where we're like, nope, it's an empty bathtub, with the wine
This
glass.
sucks. Yeah.
This sucks. And I had that yesterday after, and I told the kids, I was like, you know what, guys, I was going to make this dinner, but now I'm like drained from this. So let's just do something else. And they all came in and pitched in. And was it a good dinner? It was macaroni and cheese and chicken nuggets. But
Perfect.
the point is, they made it, and I was sitting in there with them, and they had music going, and I told them at the dinner table, I was like, I was feeling really like sapped, really drained.
Yeah.
It was late, like the hour, it was like 6:30, and I was like, oh, I haven't started dinner yet. I was on that call with my niece. That was really draining. Just kind of a hard day. The weather was crappy. It's just a hard day. And I looked at Liam, and I was like, the fact that you guys like pulled this together, this isn't like gourmet, but we had music going, and I was like, I feel better.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Liam got a smile on his face. I don't know that the two little kids really get it. And then we watched a movie, and because if you had asked me if we wanted to watch a movie like earlier, like 2 hours before, I would have been like, no, I can't. I just,
yeah.
But it filled my bucket a little bit.
Oh, doesn't that feel good?
Yeah, I think we just have to allow ourselves to have moments where we're like, no, I got to go sit in my empty shower in my clothes and just like tune out the world, because I can't, this has been a hard day, and we're going to have a lot of those through this.
Yeah. I know. And that's okay.
And that's okay too.
And that's okay.
And sometimes the schedule and wheels come off the wagon, and it's like,
and that's okay.
And that's okay. Every Monday the wheels come off of our wagon a little bit, and then we can pull it together on Tuesday. So we just have to allow ourselves to do that, I guess.
Yeah, I think now it's just we don't even need to know what day it is. It doesn't matter.
Yes. That is true. And we'll really feel that next week when it's spring break.
Every night is a Friday night, babe.
Nothing going on. Yeah, every night's a Friday night. Like,
that's how we're treated.
Kids are like, are we watching a movie again tonight? I'm like,
yeah.
Like, I need to feel like that. No. Go to bed. Don't you have to be somewhere?
No.
To be anywhere.
No. I'm like, you know what? That's our attitude here. Every night's a Friday night.
Yeah.
Forcers.
Right.
Seriously.
Let's revisit that talk when summer starts and we're still doing this.
Yes.
Like, oh, it's summer and we still are here.
Friday night.
You
might as well. I mean, honestly, we watch a movie. I mean, we get to bed at a reasonable time. It's not like we don't do that anyways, right? So who needs to get up at what time? Nobody needs to get up early. You just really don't.
Jeff is waking up every morning at 6:30. And he wakes up every morning at 6:30, and he takes his shower, and he makes his coffee, and every morning, except for on weekends. And, and then he was like, are you going to get up? Because it's helpful to me if you get up. And I'm like,
no,
I'll get up at 7:30. Because
exactly. Yes. Go make me coffee. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Poor Jeff. He's trying to maintain this schedule. It's hard.
I love it.
Hard for them, It's
well, listen, I have to do this. I'm going to stop our recording, but we're not going to stop talking.
Yeah, you can stop it. But I was thinking,
one last thing, go for it.
Oh no, I was just going to say like something to remember, like for spouses or partners that are sequestered away working in a room, and we have to also be mindful of that. That's stressful too.
Yeah.
And although we feel like, I feel like I'm managing the family and the household, and I want to take a break once he comes downstairs. Be mindful of that. That's stressful too.
Yeah.
Sitting in that room, all day online on calls is
Yeah.
hard too. And,
Yeah.
and it's a stressor as well. And then it's not just like, well, you got to be in a room all day by yourself. And
No.
so,
Yeah.
just being mindful of that too is, for
I
myself.
appreciate that. I think it's so important that we really show love and appreciation towards our spouses, both,
Yeah.
right? But really, I think for our guys who are working really hard to make ends meet,
Yeah.
right? And
Partners
continue,
or whatever your
you
family
know,
makeup is.
whatever it is. It could be the mom that's doing it, right? There's, I have friends who it's the wife that really is the breadwinner, but whatever, like, or those of us like me that did part-time and we still
Yeah.
relied on those incomes and still doing
Yes.
those kinds of things, but really just honoring each other and giving each other that space and respect for the work that they're doing to,
Yeah.
you know, create what we have
Yeah.
for our families and stuff like that. Again, I'm with you. I really appreciate our guy. We have really good guys. We love our husbands. Yeah, we work hard.
Well,
I know.
anyway.
Anyway, well, I'm gonna stop the recording, but don't hang up.
Okay.
Stay. I'll